Good evening to you both. How are you?
Hi.
Oh, how excellent. How incredible. And what a knife's edge we can walk on with modern technology and modern lifestyles and then appear as if by magic and be together across continents. You don't know how relieved I am to be here. I have a beautiful view of the Devon Hills in front of me, and I have the sound of Nick Fon in one ear and the other, and you just really have no idea how delighted I am to make this connection. Good evening to you both.
We're delighted to have you here.
Well, I will leave you to it, and I will carry on. So, it's been a great evening, so I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.
Angela, I'm so looking forward to hearing your program in the archive. Sorry I wasn't able to hear it live, but it looked like a great one, and I'm guessing you had a great time.
It was great. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Good night.
Fantastic.
Bye.
All right. Night. Bye for now. Wow. Nick, how the hell are you, old boy?
I'm even better, I have to say.
You didn't think I wasn't going to come?
I don't know. I was waiting for my, pop up and say hello like 5 minutes before the show, and I thought, okay, well, Carl must be just riding the wave. And then we're like, okay, where's Carl?
Well, it's looking a little bit like that. And let's give this a blast, and we'll be right back for another Barefoot Bus Stop moment.
You're listening to the Barefoot Broadcast, sponsored by Tom Evans' Right in Tune with the Moon programme. Find out more about getting your book written in less than a month at thebarefootbroadcast.com.
Now I'm really ready. Now I've got those jungle drums in my cells and vibes. I'm ready for this show, the Law of Attraction in Action show with Nick Fon in London, I'm guessing. I might be wrong.
In London, I haven't made it to the Caribbean just yet.
Okay. Only a matter of time, though, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are looking at the importance of your emotions, trusting your well-being, your sense of well-being, and honoring in that interplay, isn't it, Nick, between head, heart, and guts? Would I be right?
Oh, again, Carl, that's a stonker. Bang on the money.
Why,
that's
thank
the one.
you.
Ding, 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 jackpot.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, it's so lovely to see Dennis, a sometime visitor to our chat room. Hi, good evening to you, Dennis. Carrie's there in South Africa, fantastic. The lifestyle guy, Garth, is in the building. LOA Gary, of course, the wonderful LOA Gary. And sorry if I made some inappropriate comments in your direction last night. I just couldn't contain myself. And Magdis in Sweden, what a lovely smattering of friends and community in the chat room, and lots of people who haven't given us their names in the chat room to listen to this Law of Attraction in Action show. Fabulous.
That is amazing, actually, when you come to think about it. Like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I tonight as well, Nick, I've got a story to tell. Anything in the secret. And it's funny, because I was talking to somebody who's interested in working with us on the Barefoot Broadcast. Actually, it works with a fairly high-profile commercial radio station in the south of England, and wants to get together and do some barefoot stuff to take these sort of messages to millions of people. And you know that's what we've been wanting to do, Nick. And it looks like our plans are coming to fruition.
Yay! That's so cool.
Isn't that good? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And the chap I'm speaking of, he made a very funny comment. He was saying, I was saying, all these ideas, that they're coming to the fore. People want to know about things, In a time of recession, it's not only lipstick and high quality food that goes up in sales volume. It's also crystal balls and predictions, because people want to they feel a bit unstable, don't they, in what they know as normality, and they get a sense there must be more to life in these challenging times. It's a lining, couldn't it, that they open up to otherwise undiscovered frontiers. And this chap who I was speaking to said, yeah, that's definitely right. I mean, most people have heard of The Secret now, or let me put it another way. Most people complain about how The Secret doesn't work for them. So we can address that tonight, can't we? And help people finesse their connection with the law of attraction. But yeah, let me know when you're ready to hear my story worthy of inclusion in the British version of The Secret, if there is going to be such a thing. But yeah, tell me what you've been thinking and what sort of week you've been having, my friend.
It's been the interesting week because Abe's teachings very much now are moving towards get off the subject, get in the vortex, get happy, and let everything sort itself out. And they have taught that in previous years, but the emphasis on that seems to be a lot more these days. And for some reason, I'm not quite 100% sure why, but I'm really, really experiencing that. And not even in my life, just the people around me. And that's what's blowing me away. And that's kind of, I'm entering a new kind of learning curve almost about the ease and flow and joy of being joyful and how that really can sort most everything out. And that's what's absolutely blown me away this week in spades, because I had the cruise in Panama and then I got back. I was here for about a month, and then me and my sister went on holiday, and as you know, we went in Ireland, and that was a very relaxed holiday. It was very much don't worry about anything, we'll just chill out, do a bit of this, do a bit of that, you know, whatever. And then ever since we got married, my sister has been having phenomenal manifestations into her life. She's got a promotion. I mean, all of this was kind of, you know, in the pot before she left, but things are coming so much faster for her. She's got a promotion. She's got a new laptop. She's getting a company credit card. She went to a single party. She was belle of the ball, and all this stuff's coming through for her, and it's just amazing to see. Because it was, and I can link it to the holiday because it's never happened, or it's never happened to this degree, this powerfully. And she's not a deliberate creator in the sense that I may be, because I do this a lot. But she's certainly living it, and she's quite powerful, and she's probably more powerful than me in many respects, especially when it comes to abundance and stuff. And she's never really cared much about her job. She's never wanted to climb the ladder, but she's like, you know, I'm enjoying it here, whatever. And these things have come through to her really easily. And again, we didn't sit down and I didn't coach her through anything, but it was just simply being, relaxing, and it's just all coming in. And it's just been a really interesting week for me to say that. And I've even got her saying now, that's cruise alignment for you. Because she had the trouble seeing connection between the cruise and the well-being, but it's becoming a lot more deliberate and a lot more obvious for both of us what's going on. So that was just really, really interesting to see.
So what the big message there is, take your foot off the gas on your problems, or too focused about the strong desires and going after what you want and goal setting and all that crazy 80s and 90s stuff, but just keep in mind the direction you'd like to go in and just get in the vortex of well-being.
Yeah, and that's an interesting fine line I'm treading and trying to work out my place, because you've got both senses, but I mean, the very much ways that and I spoke to them when I was in the hot seat with them. I said, well, I was speaking to them about list creating, and obviously that's a lot you hear that all the time. Well, do your list, make sure that everything's on it. Oh, I forgot this to put on my list, that's why it didn't happen. And they said, as I knew, your list creating is not creating the thing. You've already done that by living life. The list just helps you focus more. So, and again, it's the two ways of dealing with any problem. Either get off the topic so much that you can distract yourself completely, or try and put it in a good feeling space. And again, that would depend on the person and the situation and what's going on. But for me, I'm moving much more towards just chilling out and letting it happen. And I had the most interesting manifestation this afternoon. I mean, I'm not really pro-manifestation. It's just get happy. And I know for myself that being happy is enough. But I got a call. I woke up and I had a voicemail from a guy called Eddie Gower. And he's like, oh, hi, I'm, wanting to speak to Nick Von Singh. It's Eddie Gower from the Mount View Theatre Dramatic Art School, whatever, and we're looking for you to teach street dance. And that is one of the most prestigious, well, I mean, I'm not totally okay with all the schools and stuff, but I think that's one of the most prestigious schools in the country for dramatic arts. And that was out of the blue. I mean, I've long left street dance behind, but it was just interesting to have that come through, because that was something I gave birth to years ago. And I'm like, how did you find me? And he's like, you sent me your CV. And I was like, I haven't done that for 5 years. And he's like, well, I just came across it and I thought I'll give you a call. So, again, it was just like, just get off the subject, and then your vortex knows what your desires are and what's coming through in your life, and which you get completely off it, which obviously has been quite a while now, then things will flow to you, and there's no way I could have even coordinated that, either back then or even now. So I thought it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminds me, of course, because we're going to talk a little bit more about getting together for, I don't know what we call it, a law of attraction retreat or a vortex retreat, whatever. But when we do it, mate, you and I will have to do a bit of breakdancing to the electric boogie, because that's my bag as well from back in the day. I know you're laughing, but my piece of cardboard is ready. And when you are. Yes, indeed. We can have a dance-off if you want, or we can do something in cooperation. So let's just, I'm looking forward to that moment.
I'll be too scared that you'll beat me.
I know, a lot of people are, but it's the taking part that counts. Did you say I've got moves or I've got moves? Or
moves, and maybe moves.
Right. Well, Garth is in the chat room, of course, and he may pick up on that little connection to moves there. And we are doing a Bear Fit program to try and rid ourselves of those extra pieces of body fat that maybe a little unnecessary, a little unaerodynamic, if you like. But yeah, that's great news. Well done, man. And then just another sign for you that you're putting yourself in the right place and things are coming to you rather than, because that's another interesting distinction right now, isn't it? People talking about how, basically we stay still, but we can charm circumstance towards us, which is a very different paradigm, isn't it, from thinking, right, okay, I've got to run towards that, and then I've got to run towards that, and I've got to run in two directions at the same time to get that and to get that. Tom Evans on one of our shows was talking to, I forget her name, forgive me, but she's basically an urban, a Western shaman, and she says, try visualizing life like that, arriving in your vicinity rather than you moving towards anything else. I think that's very interesting.
Absolutely, and especially for me, I'm very impatient, and I do like to. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I just like to get things done and tick it off my list, and then move on to this and get this done. But what I found is, and again, a lot of people face this, is certain discomfort when they're facing a desire that they don't quite have. So I just, again, like I advised the guys last week, just let it ride out. Sometimes you just have to let that desire. You have to feel the uncomfortability of that. And then at some point you just get off it, you get your mind off it, you'll get in a good space, and then it'll come to you. By which point you won't even need it because you'll be so happy. But, I mean, that's the way it kind of flows. So for me, it's a new learning curve between being deliberate and just getting off the subject completely and letting life sort itself out. So I'm still experiencing all of that. But it's a hell of a lot easier, I have to say. Just chill out. And again, a couple of weeks ago, you said to me, what was your final words? What would your advice be? And I said, well, just do something that makes you happy. And I'd re-emphasize that even more so now because I'm really experiencing it in a big way. Just do things which you enjoy, like watch a movie, have some good food, have a wonderful afternoon with some friends, which I did a couple of days ago, and it was just blissful. It was amazing. It was lovely.
Yep, superb. Okay, we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Nick Fon's Law of Attraction in Action show. Find out more at www.thebarefootbroadcast.com.
Yes, indeed. Nick Fon's Law of Attraction in Action show, where we talk about the law of attraction, manifestation, getting in the vortex, all those things that you've heard of. But maybe you're thinking, how do I access that? Nick's the man to speak to. Give us a buzz on 347-857-3198. Give us a call, because he's often been thinking about these things philosophically during the week, musing on the law of attraction. It's always interesting to hear from you, Gary. 001 if you're calling from outside the United States. Actually, if you're calling from the UK, I don't know actually if 001 is the standard code from any country outside the United States, but whatever, you need the code for America, then 347-857-3198, or you can save a few bob and come through. There's another bit of English colloquialism for you. Save a few bob, Gary. You can slip that into the conversation when you come to Cornwall and London and Devon in the future. Save a few bob. by using Skype to come through to the show. Does that sound really old-fashioned to you, Nick, me saying that?
A little bit.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying
I
guineas,
get it.
though, am I? Or farthings or anything like that.
Shillings.
Yeah. Yeah, and talking of farthings and shillings, that lottery business, did you use those numbers last week?
I did indeed. Woohoo!
And tell me, come on, what happened? You see, I couldn't. I got a
win.
rocket.
Yay!
Was that you didn't win, yay?
Yeah,
or you
we
did?
didn't win, yay!
Hooray! We didn't win again. Fantastic. But we're not going to let that put us off. The universe wouldn't let me gamble via the web, so I just took its advice and I'll wait my turn. I think the really important thing for us is not to give up, but to keep playing it with a sense of fun. That's our challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, though, because people are conscious of it, or they're thinking, does it work, doesn't it work? Then whatever, but once whatever's happened and we've got off the topic, then abundance will come in many ways. And that's just the fun of it. I mean, it's just for the fun of it, really. It's not the end of the world if we do or don't win, And I've become very blasé with people now in the conversations, because they're like, oh yeah, this will happen for you, Nick, or this one. And I'm like, or not, it's very just chill out and let it be, because I'm not going to, and again, it kind of goes back with the getting off the topic thing. It's just letting it be what it is, and whatever happened, what happened, and I'm really trying to minimize any resistance or forcing it. And whatever will be, and I've taken a bit more mellow attitude on things, and it sounds quite blasé, but I trust enough in my well-being and what I'm doing that things will come. And that's the thing for me to analyze my life now. It's hard to, because I'm in it, and it's the next logical step. So if someone might say, oh, that you did really well, or you did really badly, I was like, well, it's hard for me to say because I'm in it. So again, it's just whatever will be, and I trust that it'll work out for me, or not, and that's fine too. So
yes, indeed, and that's Taoism, isn't it? Because this is often the connection we make, that we are talking about what appears to be sort of cutting edge, leading edge spirituality, personal development, whatever, mind, body, spirit, new age. But so often, as you've just said there, that detachment is reminiscent of the ancient sages, isn't it? Who aren't attached to their outcome. It's good when it's bad, if you care to judge in that way. But even just having that detached view of life is quite a joy in itself, is what I've found when I've been able to get there.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it goes back to the two questions of, do I get off the topic or do I work into a better place? Same thing, whatever works for you. For me, I am playing with the just let it go, just let it be what it is. But equally, I would say to someone, if you've got a passion and you've got a business or a book that you love, keep talking about it, keep doing it, keep having that appreciation. So, again, it's finding your place within that. But for me, I am definitely riding the wave of just letting whatever be will be, and trusting that, it's all good. And I constantly see proof of that on a day-to-day basis. So, yeah, for me, it's getting to that point of, yeah, it's okay, it'll work out, and it does.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so the emotions, the well-being, trust. It's a bit more about that, Nick. What have you been thinking along those lines?
For the emotions, yeah, this is one thing I really wanted to highlight, because I know when I first heard about it, I heard Cheryl Richardson say, oh, keep a stopwatch for a while, and every 10 to 15 minutes check in with your gut. And I heard it, and it just kind of washed over me. But knowing this a lot more now, I do, like, your emotions are so important. If there's one of the few statements that someone would take away is, how do I feel now? How do I feel now? How does it feel? And you can control it, because I was having a good old philosophical debate with one of my workmates, and I was like, you can control your emotions, or at least, you exercise some influence on them to get them to where you want to go. And he's like, really? Like it was a completely foreign concept. And not a lot of people are totally savvy to the emotions. They think it's something reactive, which it is, but by the same token, if you can line up your thoughts and your gut feeling, which is representative of your emotions, then that is your guidance. And that is so, so important. I cannot stress the importance of that. Just checking with your gut. How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel? If you were to do that a lot, you would become sensitized to any negative emotion or positive emotion, and then you would, manifestations would not happen, or not happen to the degree which they may have before. Because sometimes, like, that came out of the blue, or that was some big bust up or drama or cancer or whatever, Whereas once you can train yourself and sensitize yourself, you will catch it a lot faster, a lot easier. And for me, I think that that's part of the work that I do. It's constantly, how does it feel? How does it feel? And that kind of leads back to, you know best for you, which is why it gives you your power back. And because people say, well, do I listen to this teacher or the church or this or that and the other? It's like, how does it feel for you? And once you can trust that, then that's your guidance system. And it goes back to trusting in your well-being and it's your so-called gut instinct. When I was in an entrepreneur seminar, I asked the question, when you make a business decision, is it 90% facts and 10% feeling, or how does it work? It's like 90% of it is gut reaction and 10% I'll pay attention to the figures. And I wasn't expecting that response from him just because he seemed quite numbers man and business minded. But, you know, Richard Branson, all the top people know it because I just knew it. So, you know, that's kind of the gut instinct.
Yes, and I think it's a very interesting point you make there about the emotions, because as you do get attuned, you can check into your emotional body, can't you? Or you can actually just have an awareness of being in your emotional body. I think the reason people think emotions are a reaction, it's because they only notice that emotional field, their emotional energy, when something of considerable shock happens in that environment. So obviously people become aware of the grosser emotions, don't they, like anger or jealousy or bitterness or hatred, because when it's got to that stage, they're thinking, oh, that's me right now, when in fact that whole spectrum of emotional feeling is happening all the time. It's just that our attention isn't there.
Oh, wow. You should write a book. You are so bang on the money. Every week you do these nuggets of Carl Munchinisms. I just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
But the thing is, I only do it because you're here, planting these seeds in my head about, you know, ways of seeing things. It's such a fruitful conversation. I love it, and I hope the people listening love it as well, because I do. You know, while we've got Garth giving us a physical workout, you're giving me a law of attraction sort of mental workout, making me think about these things in a new way, which is absolutely fantastic.
But yeah, you're bang on, absolutely. Bravo, bravo. Should be the call show.
Hey, I thought it was. No. So yeah, anything else you wanted to add there about the emotions and how people might stay more connected there or get more from it on an ongoing basis?
You raised a good point that it's only when things get really bad or something happens that people actually feel it. But again, we speak about them being reactive, and they are indications. But the work is to train yourself so that you can guide your emotions, and it's a kind of interplay between that. Because what 99% of the population do, something bad happens, they react badly. Something good happens, they react well. And whilst that's fine, it's not being deliberate, and that's what goes kind of skewy for people, because they see something go wrong, they feel bad, and then they feel bad, so something else will go wrong, and then they feel bad, and it's that kind of spiral. Whereas if you can say, this feels bad, this doesn't feel good, I'm not thinking the thoughts I quite want to, again, get off the topic, or try to work it into a better place. And once you can guide your emotions and say, you know, this is how I'm feeling, this is where I want to go, then that's great. Like, I mean, I love your story about the parking ticket that we had last week. That kept on popping up in my mind as I was going about my tube journey. I thought that was so spot on, because you said, here is the situation, I'm not feeling 100% about it, how can I shift my perspective? And that's key. If you have that, then that's pretty much one of the keys to life, because you never need to go, because all a manifestation is emotion gone too far. That's all it is. And again, it's an indicator. It's just an indicator. It's not the be-all and end-all of your life. It's just showing you something that may not be going well or may be going well, and showing you, well, this, and then you can start again, and then you can work it into a better place, and then work it into a better place, and that's the work. So it's important, you know, not to be up on yourself if things don't quite go your way. And, you know, and your emotions are all tied into that, and it's just knowledge. And just awareness, again, that's half of the battle done. Awareness, being aware, and just saying, well, how does it feel? And that awareness is so key to start off with.
Yep. Superb. Okay. So lots of things, lots of suggestions from Nick, insights and things you might want to. We're here for you every week, and we're here for you between shows as well, in the Barefoot Broadcast community. I've been letting off a bit of steam in the chat room, Nick, because I've been saying, come on, you guys, what are your law of attraction questions? Because this is about this radio show, this radio station, our Barefoot Broadcast community is about supporting each other to live very, very extraordinary lives. Otherwise, what's the point? And we can forget that comment. It's illustrated, isn't it, in these skirmishes, basically, that we have into brilliant manifestation, and then we run off. I think it was Winston Churchill who said, a human being encounters the truth and then runs off as if nothing ever happened, because we kind of get scared of our power, don't we? But I so want our show, this show, and the station and our community to be a way of supporting each other, to just live extraordinary lives and not beat ourselves up for being too boring and normal, but to know that we're capable of so much more than that, and that we've got the support system and the technology to do that right here with wonderful people like Nick every week.
Oh yeah, you vote for Carl. Carl for president.
See, and with that prompt, Gary has come up with, I'm Carl, aren't I? Let's just
You can, lady.
I'm getting too giddy, that's right. No, I wouldn't dare channel Gary, crikey. No, he has raised a brilliant point, and this must come up for people who are playing with their relationship with the law of attraction. Let's talk about how it seems to work easily in one area of our lives, but not in others. Brilliant question, Gary. And do you know what he's getting at there, Nick?
Absolutely, because it's a bit of a tricky one, because sometimes people will have success because they have that kind of clear-mindedness. But for people who have success in one area, it's kind of going back to the emotions and reacting and observing. I mean, I don't want to go into childhood patterns because you don't need to address that necessarily. But if you're brought up in a situation with your parents, and they might train you that you must work hard to achieve this, or you see that the relationships around you are always splitting, then you're reacting to that. So say dad cheated on your mum, and then your boyfriend cheats on you. You start to develop a reactive belief that all men cheat, and then you carry on with that in that particular area. So your relationships might be a bit funky. But say your parents were great business people, you start to pick up that vibration off them. So you might be stunning in business, but not so much in relationships. And it's kind of reactive training. It's a mix of all those vibrations. But once you can start to learn and apply these principles, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be successful in every area of your life, because you should be. Life is fun, and life should go well for you in all ways. And again, it's just working through those. And different patterns of resistance will come up for different people. I mean, for me, having friends and being quite social has always been one of my natural strengths. So again, it's nothing I've had to be necessarily deliberate about. One example I had was, and now I know what I know, it's even more powerful, that I went out for lunch with some friends, and I'm used to organising things together and saying, people be here and do this, and everyone has to turn up at this time so we can go to this restaurant and do this and do this. And I was like, whatever happens, happens. They'll turn up, and I just send it out there. I didn't chase them on the day. I didn't re-text them. I thought, I'll let it be. And I think everyone would agree that we had one of the best afternoons ever. There were so many synchronicities and sharings and stuff. So socialness for me has never been any major issue. Neither has a job. I did make a determination to work on money, and that's kind of one of my things where I just have to change my beliefs. But bit by bit, I'm very determined to work on that. And that's a thing that's relatively easily, which is why when I played the lottery that time when I did, I won, because I was able to shift relatively easily on that, and I will show the manifestational proof. Now my next thing would be to expand my consciousness. So now I'm asking all my friends and family, and that's what I'm going to do in one of my groups. If you actually won the lottery, what would you really do? Because people think, I'd go on holiday and I'd do this. But if you had the £1 million in your bank account today, if you had the ideal job, that perfect relationship, how would life be for you? And to really shift that into a more next logical stepness, then you start to bridge the gap between this big thing which I might not ever have to this thing that comes to me easily. And again, once you apply that, once you've shown yourself your power, and that's what Abraham says, don't try this game on something which you've been working on the past 20 years, because you won't shift it easily. You'll start to get disheartened. Play it with something simple. And once you've shown your power on that, then move on to bigger and better things. It's like the guy who starts off with a market stall, then he'll start a newspaper, then he'll do a company, and then before you know it, he's Richard Branson with 500 multinational sub-companies. It's kind of showing yourself your power in one area, and then you can apply it to all areas. And that's how you can go from being successful in one particular area to being successful in all areas, and that goes back to being deliberate. Because an entrepreneur with great business skills may naturally be good at that, and they won't know how to apply the deliberateness in relationships. Once you've got this knowledge, then you can start being deliberate and playing with it in all areas of your life, and that is the game.
Brilliant advice, brilliant insight as ever from Nick Fon on the Law of Attraction in Action show. That's got to work, isn't it? Because I think what we're seeing there is that, let's say, in your love life, you're just very lucky because you're that sort of person. You never had too many kind of hang-ups or worries in that department, but you're absolutely broke. So you're a brilliant broke lover. I'm not accusing you of that, Nick, and I'm not accusing Gary of that.
Far from it.
But let's say you have no worries in the department. Partners just tend to show up and you can take your pick and it's never a problem. But your Brassic Lint, another one for you, Gary. Brassic Lint, Cockney rhyming slang, skin.
Wow.
As in not very much money, not having a few bob. Now, if your focus in your gratitude and your awareness stays in your love life, then it may well be that will spill into your money life. If, however, you start going out of the vortex by thinking, oh, I haven't got enough money to take all my lovers out this week, then your vibes have changed, haven't they? So if you're putting your attention in the lack of money rather than the abundance of love, that's obviously going to change life for you, I would have thought.
Yay, go Carl, ding, 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 A star.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Nick Fon's Law of Attraction in Action show. Find out more at www.thebarefootbroadcast.com.
Well, I nearly started popping there with that rhythm going on. That talk of street dance, the electric boogie has caused some cellular activation in me. But we'll have to talk about you're calling it the Barefoot Symposia, aren't you? But we'll talk about that maybe later on in the show. Because I wanted to ask you mentioned your groups, and I think, as we've done more and more of these shows and people are becoming more and more aware of what you do and your obvious grasp of this, of how the law of attraction works in our lives, how can people work with you? How do they do that?
The best place would be to grab me. Well, I'm on Meetup, on Facebook, on YouTube. Any of those you can contact me on. It's just Nick Fon, Nickfon on Facebook, or Abe Nicks, ABENICKS, on YouTube, and just drop me a message. I do a fair amount of one-to-one coaching, and I've got my groups and I've got so much going on. So, and again, it's whatever level people feel comfortable at it. If people are coming into the first time, then watch a YouTube video. If you're ready for the next step, then come to my Meetup groups. If you're ready for the next step, then do some one-on-one coaching. That is the path that people tend to take. They'll venture in my YouTube channel, and then they'll message me and they'll say, "Can I come along to your Meetup?" And then they come and see it, and then they have fun, and then it's kind of leading on to the retreats. And I've just started kind of my Meetup socials, which is literally just a bunch of us meeting up for coffee or a walk, or just to experience well-being with each other. It doesn't have to be anything serious. Again, it was just like the afternoon I had on Sunday with just a bunch of group of friends. It was just magical. And so, it's whatever level you feel comfortable coming in at, and that's fine too. I mean, to be honest, with all teachers, it's like you don't need me, you've got you. But again, sometimes it's just nice to have someone who's not privy to your everything to be able to give an objective thing. Like, I had a friend, she was going through quite a thing on Friday, and we just had a big, good old chat till the earliest hours of the morning, just fine-tuning stuff. And she knows this pretty damn well, but she was still having a bumpy ride. So, once we had a good talk, we just bounced ideas off each other, and I was helping her fine-tune stuff. She was like, oh, okay, well, I could have done that on my own, but it's just so much easier when you've got a friend there. So, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's far too modest, this chap. He's well worth working with. Friend him up on Facebook. I've put the link in the chat room. But if you're listening to this in the archive, that isn't going to be much use to you. Go to Facebook and look him up. Nickfon. That's Nick Fon. And, Abe Nix, Nicks on YouTube. And I think you're searchable via Meetup as well for anybody listening in and around the London area who wants to come along to one of Nick's groups. They're weekly, aren't they, Nick, in London?
Monthly.
I beg your pardon, they're monthly.
They are monthly, yeah.
Right, just a matter of time, I suspect, before they're weekly and then franchisable across the globe.
I love that, but I've actually stepped down for a weekly. It was just too much. And that's the thing though. That's something that I had to do for me, because when I first started, I think it was bi-weekly, and then I stepped up to weekly. And then for me, I was like, okay, I'm not enjoying this. It's just too much for me. So I took last summer off, and I said, when I come back, I'm going to come back with a fresh mindset. So I kicked it off in the new year, and I said, once a month, I'm going to dip in, dip out. It's going to be fun for me. I'm going to hold that intention for me first, and that's what's led it. And if I feel inspired to take it to the next level, I will. And if not, then that's fine too. Again, it's kind of trusting your gut instinct. And actually, that brings me to a point that I wanted to re-highlight. It's when you hear, don't give a rip what anyone else thinks. Just do what you feel is best for you. And that's something that I've always come at it a little bit quirky, a little bit different. So you either love me or you think, oh, that's a bit weird. But, I'm used to that, and I'm used to having things done my own way and doing things my own way. And again, that's what I was telling my friend. Take whatever qualities you have and sit in your power within them. If you're in a meeting and you don't say anything, or you say something stupid or whatever, just claim it and say, I did that. So what? Good for me. And that's what I've been doing. One thing that happened recently was I just come from lunch and I was meeting some friends, and everyone was eating, so they was having lunch, and I was like, I don't feel like eating, so I could have been the odd one out. It didn't faze me at all, because I wasn't hungry, so I didn't order anything at all, so I was just sitting there talking to them. And then when the bill came, there was a bit of a squabble over, I owe this, you owe this. And I was like, you know what, I completely sidestepped that. For whatever reason, I didn't feel inspired to eat, and I wasn't a part involved in that. So for me, I was like, I'm just trusting that my well-being and my instinct is lining me up with my well-being, and that I will sidestep any silly things like that because I've trusted my guidance and I haven't felt, oh, I should do this, or I shouldn't do this. So again, it's starting to trust you and developing that relationship with you and your feelings and, those flashes of inspiration.
Brilliant. Don't should on yourself, don't should on other people. It's one way of putting it, isn't it? Some lovely feedback from Sweden. Just chipping in there, Magdis, who's a fairly new member to our community, but it's so great to have you connecting with us in Sweden, Magdis. I have a real hard time manifesting, says Magdis. There is always 5 different realities I want to manifest. The solution for me is just to say yes, please, with a loving feeling in my heart. So totally reiterating you at the beginning of the show there, really, Nick, is just to get in the place of well-being, and like where you said, where the Abraham teaching is going. Let's just find that good feeling place as our first priority.
It is, and it sounds so flippant and non-action and this, that, and the other, but it is worth so much. And the thing is, you only want a manifestation because you think you'll feel better in the having of it anyway. So once you can really, and for someone who's entering this, it can be a little bit hard because it's so caught up on manifestation. One of my group members was emailing me for some one-to-one advice, and then my business, or I'm in a meeting and then the deal doesn't quite go way and I feel disappointed. And I was like, well, again, you have 2 ways of going about it. Either work it into a better place or get off the subject. Because it's your business, because it's your daily life, it's hard to get off the topic. So my advice would be to start getting your attention off what is and start pre-paving. Write your deal as you want it to be. Like the woman who said, what do you feel for my love life? You get to write the script. You get to choose. So write it in a way that feels good, and then get your attention off it and just see what happens, and just play that game. But if you can start to take the edge off the manifestation, because manifestation is just so secondary, it's just so non-important. Manifestation is so yesterday, because anything that comes into your feelings, it's not instant. It doesn't come from how you're feeling now. It's a reflection of what was. If you see what I'm saying, like the cake you bake.
I do. I totally get that. I love that.
That stuff you put together. So it is so yesterday. So enjoy it for what it is and take pleasure in it. But by the time it comes to you, you know, you'll probably be so happy anyway that it doesn't matter. Just like that job offer I got today. But it's just nice.
Yeah. And there is that wonderful contrast there, isn't there? A feeling that just going to the good feeling place is a bit try. But it's actually so massively profound, because if we brought our children up to stay in the vortex, to find the good feeling place as quickly as possible, if you looked back, I mean, even just from a logical, rational point of view, if you look back on your life and nothing really happened much apart from feeling good, that really wouldn't be a bad life, would it?
That would probably be the best life that you could ever have. And because of that, you would have everything. That's the crux. That is the crux.
Indeed, and if I can add today, Nick, the Abe quote, you must have seen this today because you probably get them sent to your iPhone. Worrying is using your imagination to create something you don't want, and I just think that's so wonderful, because before you know it, what you've been worrying about and what you've been imagining could happen. You certainly haven't been feeling good, because that can't be happening at the same time in the same body, as far as I'm aware. You can't feel good and bad at the same time.
Oh, bang on!
You can flick, can't they? I mean, you can feel good, and then feel bad afterwards that you felt good, and then feel good again, because some people like feeling bad, but they don't go on in the same space and time in the same body. And I've just confused myself and can't remember what I was going to say as a result of that. Oh, I know. Yeah, in this new work I've got, and can I tell you the story about this place where I am? And why it's worthy of yes, thank you. I'm working at I keep banging on about it in across the programs that we're doing, but and this is where I want Nick to come and do some workshops and retreats at some point in beautiful Devon in the southwest of England. But I've been to this place a few times. I came to report on a conference about a year ago, and I thought it was very nice. And it was only a few miles from a place where I used to live in Devon. I thought, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, and when I was a postman locally, I used to drive past it, or the bottom of its drive, every day. So, conference a year ago, and I think that's quite nice. And I must bring my friend there, because a lot of it revolves around our whole understanding of disability and ability and what's possible for disabled people. So I'm doing a bit of caring and enabling work for my mate Damien, and I think to myself, I must bring him here to interview the chief executive of the place from the point of view of disability for our radio show that we used to do together. So we come and do that, and we have a great time. Then I'm inspired, well, around that time, I think, I've picked up a postcard of this place. It's called Sealhain, and I've put it in my manifestation book, you know, where I always intend to put all my inspiring cuttings and pictures as my sort of journaling manifestation book diary. And I put that postcard away, the picture of Sealhain, and I forget about it. Then I asked them, is it possible to come and do a bit of voluntary work there and maybe live there? And that email got lost back in November of last year. And it turned up about 3 weeks ago in somebody's intro. Sent me an email saying, I'm so sorry, that email you sent asking to be a volunteer here got buried. It's just turned up. Do you still want to do it? Now, that was really good timing. Because I said, I pretty much bit her hand off. If there were several settings on an email, that one said like normal, one says urgent, and one says bite your hand off, I would have put the bite your hand off flag on this email and said, I don't want to volunteer in quite the same way, but I do want to volunteer, and I want to bring my girlfriend with me, and we want to do some work there. Is that still possible? Yes, come and meet us. And as you and Benjamin Stubbs say, the universe loves speed. Within a few days, we were at this place, having a look around, talking about what we might be able to offer. And this week, Nick, I'm broadcasting from a bedroom in the residential block of this place, just, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks later. But the really spooky thing is, and the thing that reminds me of the secret, is Louisa, as we were packing our stuff together, said, oh, I found this post. for our manifestation wall when we managed to get it up on the wall. It's a postcard of Seal Hain. And I said, how did that get in there? And she said, you gave it to me ages ago, and you said, stick that up on our wall. And it's been there, a picture of this place where we're now living. And get this, man, she's got a job interview here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I had my job interview here yesterday. These are for paid posts. I had a job interview here yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And even just telling you the story now, I'm thinking, actually, it's even spookier than I thought. I mean, this stuff really works, doesn't it? How you do. Yeah, and I've been easy around it. I've been just wanting to be here and enjoy myself and make myself useful, and these openings and opportunities have come up. Yeah, even a house nearby. Okay, I was here, and some well-meaning person said to me, "You want to rent a house nearby, don't you? Let me introduce you to loads of houses around here." I get to meet him a few hours later. He says, "Oh, you want a place to live here, do you? Here's the number of my builder who's working on a house down the road." I get the number of Bob the builder. He really is called Bob, and he's a builder. And I say to Louisa, "Shall I just show you this house that the guy told me about as we're on our way into town?" "Yeah, let's have a quick look." Bob the builder's there. He comes out. He says, "Do you want to have a look? There's another one up the road as well. Do you want to have a look at that?" So we're looking at 2 houses we can possibly rent as well. And it just is falling into place like that. And it's only in the telling of it. And that's why it's so important. I mean, do you get this in your groups? It's really important for people to share their stories, because then in sharing them and telling them out loud, they realize how profound this technology is.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that was phenomenal. Yay, you. Absolutely amazing.
It really is. It really is. And let's just remind everybody what's going on here, and we'll be right back after this to talk about how we can. You all can come and enjoy this beautiful place under the guidance and leadership of our host this evening, Nick Fon.
You're listening to Nick Fon's Law of Attraction in Action show. Find out more at www.thebarefootbroadcast.com.
And I do have to thank you, Nick. I am such a privileged man that I get to speak to you. I get to speak to Benjamin Stubbs, who introduced me to you. I get to speak and share the insights of Jay Atkinson and Solomon, who introduced me to Benjamin Stubbs. This community thing, I can't tell you how important it is to be within the vicinity of other people who are thinking this way and are making it possible. LOA Gary, Magnus, people who want to talk about this stuff. So thank you all. It's really, we are doing this for each other, and I think we can all help each other with the things we want in our lives.
Oh, tear to my eye. Thank you. It's absolutely,
it's so true, man.
Amazing. Absolutely, and I just want to congratulate you on that magnificent story, and I want you to congratulate you on that story because it's absolutely amazing. But what struck me and what stands out is it's funny because that's a perfect example of all that I've been saying, because on one hand you were like, well, it happened and you were in the next logical space for it, but as you began to dissect, you realized, holy moly, this is really magical. And
yes.
That's exactly the thing, because when you're in it, it seems next logical step. So, 20 years ago or whatever it was, when it was nowhere near you, you might have felt that discord. But now you're living it. It's like, well, of course, but of course, but of course. And that's exactly how it should feel. And then you start to step back and think, wow, that is absolutely brilliantly amazing. So it is the kind of, when a manifestation or whatever, like our friend was talking about earlier, I've got all these realities which I'm not living, then it's soothing that discord between the stuff that I'm not living to the stuff I could live, to the stuff that I might be living, to the stuff that I am beginning to live. And that's a whole different story. And it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, which is feelings. How does that thought feel? If the thought feels bad, change it. What's a better feeling thought? I've got all these realities which I'm not living, or I've got all these realities which are calling me forward, which I might be living, which I'm enjoying in the present moment, and I can turn my focus to that. And again, that links back to the feelings and how did that thought feel? Not which is the most true. That's not the name of the game. Which feels better? You know, does it feel better that I've got no money and I've got no job? Or does it feel better that I could have some money, could have a job? You might not believe it, but it feels better. And that's a sensitivity, that's a training that I really wanted to highlight today with your emotions. And, it all ties in so perfectly. And you brought that to a great head when you start telling your story because, that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah. No, and thanks for the reminder about all of this, Nick, because it's not the most true thing, is it? Because that's always open to debate. But there is no doubt about how you feel. That's so real, isn't it? How you feel in your body right now is, I don't know, that's got to be the closest thing to reality that's available to us, isn't it?
Exactly, because, you highlight that brilliantly, because how you feel is how you feel. No one can tell you how you feel. And because all reality is perceptive, then your perception, your feelings, your thoughts, they're all interlinked, and no one can tell you otherwise. If you want to believe that you're the biggest star in the world, then bloody well go ahead and do so. That ties in quite nicely with the quote that I forgot to mention. But Abraham said a couple of days ago, all the stars knew this. They were holding their hairbrushes as microphones and performing in the mirrors. And that very day, Rihanna put up on her site, I remember I was a kid, I used to be singing in my microphone, looking in the mirror, and neighbours used to tell me to shut up. Same diff. These people saw it in some way, way before it was manifest. And that's what you have to do, and that's why it's don't give a rip, because people might say to you, that's not going to happen, but you have to say, well, you know what, I believe it, so it will be. And, you have to do the best for you, ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. Or as Steve Judd puts it, our kick astrologer, the Caustic astrologer Steve Judd, is with us doing free readings between 7 and 8 every Monday evening. Fake it till you make it. Same kind of concept, right?
Exactly. Tell it as you want it to be, not how it is. And, soon enough you begin to believe it, and then others, and then the universe will deliver it to you.
Yeah,
That's
excellent.
Cool.
And yeah, so a bit of a plug there for Steve. Also another from, and I think you did last week, Alicia Tucker, angel readings on a Friday.
Oh, she's exquisite. Absolutely exquisite.
What a great team we're a part of, eh?
I know, absolutely. Big thank you to Alicia. Her reading was spot on and exactly what my friend needed to hear. And, again, it's not stuff that was wildly out of the blue. We're like, oh, but of course. But again, it's just so nice to have someone hold that kind of positive space for you, because they're not privy to everything that you're going through at the moment. So it was just a lovely message, and we're like, yeah, duh, obviously that's such good advice, and it was so spot on. So yeah, big up to Alicia.
Yep, that's Fridays between 7 and 8 for free angel readings. But right now, as is the case on a Tuesday evening between 9 and 10 p.m. UK time, free advice, insight, support on your law of attraction relationship. It's the Law of Attraction in Action show with Nick Fon, and we've only got about 6 minutes to be quick. 001 347 857 3198. You can come through on Skype and save a few bob, guineas, farthings, whatever currency you choose. Talking of Skype, Microsoft have made an offer, have they not, for Skype for $5 billion.
Wow. That's phenomenal.
Now, you're thinking Skype. Well, a lot of people were thinking, how is that ever going to make any money? By giving free communication to people. And you've got to say, haven't you, praise the Lord for Skype on a good day. Because this...
praise the Lord for Skype on a bad day.
Yeah, of course. Oh, it's the miracle of Skype that allows me to speak tonight. Are you calling in on Skype?
Yep.
And we've had so much joy out of Skype.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought it? Free communication suddenly worth £5 billion to the right buyer. But anyway, yeah, you can connect to the show via Skype. I wanted to mention that Magdis has added on the in the chat room there. And this is a real good reminder to me, Magdis, actually, because I told a very a glossy story there, didn't I? I was a real sort of poster boy for law of attraction for a moment there. But you say, I've said yes, please, in the most horrible situations. It really gives a feeling of co-creation for real. And I have to say that as well, because this journey getting to where I am now hasn't been without its difficulties and bust-ups and arguments and Mercury in retrograde and all that. And it's so true what you say, Magdis. To keep saying yes, please, in the most horrible situations is bang on. I think that's so true.
And that's beautiful, because that's the thing, especially with this deliberate co-creation. People think, I shouldn't think bad things, or I shouldn't be going through this. And it's I shouldn't be doing this thing that I'm doing, which holds you back. Whereas if you can say, I let go, or, you know what, it's okay. Making peace with where you are is also so important, because, you know, you're your own harshest critic. And once you can ease off and say, you know what, whatever, it's okay, I'm doing the best that I can, that you have to be your own best friend. Once you can get that, then you'll never need anyone again. But by the same token, you'll have everyone around you because they just love your joy so much, and, you know, it's all interlinked.
Absolutely right. Okay, so Barefoot Symposia, maybe some lotto numbers. 3 minutes to go, Nick. How do you want to round up and round off?
Yeah, let's pick some lottery numbers. What the hell? Why not?
Okay, all right. 7 and 33 will be my selections for this week.
7 and 33. Okay, I'll go for 24 and 44.
24 and 44. Remember, everybody, it's just a game. And maybe Magdis, Gary, Dennis, our guests who don't have names in the chat. We've got 2 more numbers to pick. If you want to help us with that, play it for fun and let us know how you get on. Because the other thing, of course, is we're playing this across various lottos around the world. So it's any lottery with 6 numbers. The way it works here is that we play it, we have fun doing it, we don't get too attached to the end result, and if you win, you have to give all of the money to me and Nick. It's really brilliant.
Yeah, I'm liking that clause.
Yep, excellent. 1 more number, please. Only joking. We'll share it. I hope you'll share it. And maybe a last thank you, Magdis, for your number, the number 9. Like that one. Yeah, a couple of minutes to go. Nick, a thought for the week ahead?
Again, I would say what I did the other time, but even emphasize it even more. Spend an hour or an afternoon or an evening or a day doing something you enjoy, which totally takes your mind off whatever you're going through. I really can't stress that enough, and that's something that I have to introduce somehow, some way, in my groups and in my retreats. Just bringing something along that you enjoy, and I can't stress that enough. I've experienced that. I've seen it, you know, having a holiday or a break, or just taking some time out for you. And that's very basic, and you hear it all the time. But for some people, that's probably the hardest thing they'll ever have to do, is just to not work or not touch the email or whatever, and do that one thing that they like. And
marvelous.
You know, the angel card that I drew was ask, so know that your asking has delivered your answer, and you're magnificent.
What a fabulous way to end the show, Nick. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great week, and thank you to everybody who's been listening.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Cheers. Bye for now.